दोस्तों ने मुझे कमेंट किया था जे भैया एक तो ऐसा वीडियो बनाइए जिसमें सिंगल जर्सी या इंटरलॉक या रिप का कुछ टेक्निकल वीडियो हो। जैसे कमेंट मेरे पास बहुत ये आया था कि सिंगल जर्सी मशीन का बाट ही मार रहा था, तो उसके लिए कुछ ट्रेनिंग पर्पस वीडियो भेजिए। तो मैं एक तो वीडियो कलेक्ट किया हूँ और वीडियो दे रहा हूँ। कुछ मतलब और वीडियो चाहिए या कुछ आप बोलना चाहते हो तो कमेंट कीजिए प्लीज़, लाइक भी कीजिएगा। थैंक यू।
Adjust the cylinder as necessary. Then check the cylinder for flatness. Shim the cylinder as necessary. Using a dial face indicator, check the sinker dial for roundness. Next, check the sinker dial for flatness. While you're doing this, record the highest point of the sinker dial by marking an X on the inside of the cylinder. You will use this mark later to set the sinker cam clearance. If the sinker dial flatness does not fall within the tolerance shown on the settings drawing and the cylinder is flat, contact Vanguard Supreme for assistance. Loosen the screws on the sinker post securing the sinker cam retaining ring. Using a test dial indicator, check the sinker cam retaining ring for concentricity using the outside diameter. Adjust the concentricity of the sinker cam retaining ring with the set screws in the adjusting shoes. Do not over-tighten the set screws. This can deform the sinker cam retaining ring and cause knitting problems. Next, tighten the screws securing the sinker cam retaining ring to the sinker post. Install new sinkers. Old sinkers can be reused only after they have been thoroughly cleaned and inspected for damage and wear. Inspect the sinker section blocks to ensure they are free of lint and debris. Then assemble the sinker section blocks and tighten the screws securely. Using the ratchet handle, rotate the high point of the sinker dial until it is at sinker post number 1. This is the sinker post to the right of sinker section block number 1. Remove the sinker section block mounted to the right of sinker post number 1. This section block number will vary with the machine diameter. Using a feeler gauge, check the clearance between the sinker cams and the top of the sinkers. Place the feeler gauge between the nose and butt of the sinker. The proper sinker cam clearance is 7 1/1000ths to 9 1/1000ths of an inch, or 18 100ths to 23 100ths of a millimeter. To achieve the proper clearance, add or remove shims between the sinker post and the sinker cam retaining ring. Loosen the screw securing the sinker cam retaining ring to the sinker post where the clearance needs to be adjusted. Remove all shims at this location. Next, add or remove shims to the stack as needed to achieve the proper clearance. Slide the stack of shims between the sinker post and the sinker cam retaining ring. Tighten the screw securing the cam retaining ring to the sinker post. Then recheck for the proper clearance. Replace the sinker section block and tighten the screws securely. Using the ratchet handle, rotate the high point of the sinker dial to the remaining sinker posts and repeat the steps to achieve the proper sinker cam clearance. Next, set the sinker cam push. Loosen the screws securing sinker section block number 1 and remove the block. Using a dial caliper, set the first sinker cam on sinker section block number 1 to 465 1/1000ths to 475 1/1000ths of an inch, or 11 81 100ths to 12 6 100ths of a millimeter. This is the distance from the front left flat area on the sinker cam and the front lip of the section block. Loosen the cam screws slightly to allow for movement of the cam. Adjust the sinker cam to the proper setting and tighten the cam screws securely. Always double-check your setting to make sure the dial caliper was aligned properly. Install sinker section block number 1 and tighten the screws securely. Mount a magnetic indicator on the inside of the cylinder to the right of sinker section block number 1. Align the tip of the dial indicator to touch the nose of a sinker. If you're working on a fine cut machine, You may need to remove a sinker on either side of the sinker the dial indicator tip is in contact with. Using the ratchet handle, rotate the machine so the sinker in contact with the dial indicator tip is at the farthest point of push on the sinker cam that was set using the dial caliper. Set the indicator dial to 0. Using the ratchet handle, rotate the indicator and sinker to the farthest point on the next sinker cam. Adjust the sinker cam so the dial indicator reads 0. Repeat this process for each sinker cam. After setting all the sinker cams, rotate the sinker and the indicator back to the farthest point of push on the first sinker cam set. If the dial indicator does not read 0, repeat the process to set the sinker cams again. Wrap the cylinder springs around the cylinder and attach the end hooks. Make sure the springs are correctly positioned in the recessed area of the cylinder and the attached ends are offset from each other. Remember, it's critical to wear safety glasses whenever you're handling the cylinder springs. Install new needles. Old needles can be reused only after they have been thoroughly cleaned and inspected for damage and wear. Align the needle butts to the height of the cam tracks on the cylinder.
ये वीडियो किसी को अच्छा लगा हो तो प्लीज़ लाइक शेयर कमेंट कीजिएगा।